He's the founder of Ace Broadcasting and the host of the Adam Carolla Show, the most downloaded podcast on iTunes. Since launching in 2009, his new media empire has continued to grow, maintaining 200,000 downloads a day. Look out for his book of rants from Crown Publishing this fall, titled, "In 50 Years, We'll All Be Chicks." Thanks for finally admitting it. Please welcome Adam Carolla.
Oh, yeah. Everything gonna be all right this morning.
And that's Muddy Waters for you, sir.
That was my gay porn name. It was the 80s. Best power bottom in the business, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to hang my head.
Well, this man and I also have a past because in doing the impossible, we annexed the western portion of the United States of America, formerly known as Howard Stern in the Morning, to Adam Carolla, who did one of the best morning radio shows ever. So give it up for that.
Woo.
Thank you.
But then, like me,
sure,
got the bullet in the head. I think they said it wasn't personal, but they were just cutting back or something like that.
It's always personal whenever they say it's not personal. Like whenever anyone says, "I'd like to help," you're not going to get any fucking help. And it's not personal means it's very personal.
Very personal. And then what I want to know, Shira told you 200,000. I'd like to go this way.
I just read what, you know.
It's accurate, but this is the way I would do it if I was writing his press. 1 million downloads of this man's podcast per week. So how do you do that?
Yeah.
Well, I think like Penn explained, sort of early, often, and honest, you know. It wasn't my idea. I knew I was going to get axed from the radio about a month and a half before everyone else knew I was going to get axed from the radio at the radio station, which made it very uncomfortable because we would have these morning meetings where we would plan, you know, hey, maybe this time when we do March Madness, we can all go out to Vegas and take a sports book. And I'd be like, yeah, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. We'll all be in the soup line then. So I knew, but I couldn't say anything. But my buddy Donnie, who's drunk and backstage, which is really where he ultimately always is, he said, you should do something called a podcast as soon as you get off the air. And I said, what's a podcast?
What would that be? Yeah.
I don't know what that is. And he said, well, you talk, you say whatever you want. You don't have to get the FCC or your program director involved. And it's great. And I said, all right, let's do it. And I guess the message is I didn't say how much do they pay you to do it. I just said, let's do it, because if I can talk, I'll do it for free. Actually, a lot like what I'm doing now. And I said, fuck it, let's do it. And we started, and we've never missed a day.
5 days a week. And I guess what's also relevant to this crowd, you know, when we started, Warren warned me. He said, here's how we'll mess this all up. Don't go out raising too much money. Don't spend too much money. And certainly don't pocket anything till we make money. So you could have went into 15 versions of big-time show business. Talk about the decision. We had a conversation once that I think could be helpful to these lovely people. You talked to me about the short money versus the long money. So, well, I mean, you invested in this.
Yeah, I paid for bandwidth. Well, it was funny because when I said to our sort of techie guy, how much is this going to cost? And he said, for you, I don't know, $100 a month worth of bandwidth. And then the first month came and went, it was 10 grand. And so I guess I now know what he thinks of me, which is important. But, you know, Dr. Drew, who I normally would tune out when he spoke, he said, there's two things he said that have sort of stuck with me, which one is you can't fool Mother Nature, meaning it'll figure its way out. But the other one he talked about was delayed gratification. He said they did a little study with 8-year-old boys, and they said, we can either give you 3 M&Ms today or a pack tomorrow. And the ones that grabbed for the 3 M&Ms were essentially the losers. And the ones that said, I will wait for the whole pack of M&Ms until tomorrow, were the future winners of the world. And that stuck with me, and I realized delayed gratification. You can't get rich the first year. Sometimes you're going to run at a deficit. You have to pay for bandwidth. You're giving your product away for free, but for a payday down the road, and not a guaranteed payday. Now, that's the whole thing. If somebody said, look, don't eat these M&Ms today, and I will guarantee that we will back a pickup truck filled with M&Ms up to your clubhouse tomorrow and bury you in them, most people would be, all right, I can hold off for that. But if they said, don't take the 3 M&Ms that are on the table, and maybe, just maybe, but don't count on it, we'll give you a truckload of M&Ms tomorrow, well, that's a different story. And this is delayed gratification, except for it's not guaranteed gratification.
So when you started, I can't remember the number exactly, but the number was something like 4 million downloads the first week. Is that right? It was something in there, something big.
Sounds good.
So you had Loveline with Dr. Drew, you had the radio show, you had the Man Show. Did you, in your gut, have a feeling about, and maybe now that it's been, a year and a half doing
right.
it, what do you think these numbers are coming from? Are these people that have followed you for a while, or do you think that you're in this new place where we're all living and people are finding you for the first time?
It's probably a combination. I talk to people all the time when we go out and tour about and do our live shows where they say, I was a big fan and I got my brother-in-law to listen to you, or I forced my sister to listen to you. So there's a lot of folks that are out there, sharing the good news with other, with the natives, so to speak. And it's partly the sort of hardcore group that we're always with you and will be with you, but ultimately you need converts, and you need to then turn the converts into other converts. And it's this sort of chain that needs to take place, because if everyone who liked you just listened and played it close to the vest, you would just have that finite amount of listeners for the rest of your career. So it's probably a combination of a core audience and then that core audience spreading the word. And I've also found that the core audience, you can be pretty straightforward with them. You can say, look, we potentially can make money here if you guys go out and tell your friends and your neighbors and your coworkers about this show, and we'll offer it to you for free, but we'll be able to monetize it with some sponsorship, and that's the way we'll keep the lights on at the warehouse.
What's your philosophy, just one sort of big business question about something Penn and I talked about years ago, this assumption of free versus if you've got something really good, then maybe 5 of them are going to pay 99 cents or $1.99 for it? I sort of just decided that if it wasn't broke, we shouldn't fix it. The old model of give you something for free and then run some sponsorship on whatever that is. And first, let me just say this. I'm not an expert. I didn't know. It's all just sort of gut feeling. It's not like, well, this is better than that, and the way we do it is better than the way you do it. Look, you could open a guitar case and say, throw $1 in if you listen to this podcast, or you could say, we're now brought to you by Raytheon or Nabisco or whoever, or you could do some version in between. For us, we decided that we wanted to try to run this like a network, and that we would offer you a good product, and that product would always be free, and in between you would have to hear my nasally drone talk about go-to-mypc.com or ProFlowers, and that's a very small price to pay for the 90 minutes of free content. And I think people are grown up enough to understand sort of how the world works. And I would tell people, we have a sponsor. You should go ahead and go to proflowers.com and help our sponsors so that we can stay on the air and continue to offer this. Because you have a bunch of 40-year-old people who cannot work for free. I mean, it's a cool concept, and I dig the whole anarchy thing, but eventually we have to have lights on at the warehouse. We need to buy equipment. We need computers. We need to pay for bandwidth. And at a certain point, my dad isn't Bill Gates, so we got to figure out a way to make this back. Well, I also want to make sure we have time for you to ask Adam questions in a couple minutes, but I want to say that the man is literally in his garage. So just to make a tiny bit of news, we're going to do the first thing My Damn Channel's ever done on this tip and sponsor and pay him. So there's my plug.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. And it's good to be in business with friends. And the thing that's really nice about this country in general is, you know, you can get fired from your job and get fired from your job and quit one of your many jobs or get fired from one of your many jobs and not go get in line and not beg for money and not go on the dole, but create something new and figure out a way to get paid doing that. And it's a nice mindset, meaning I just got shit canned from my gig. Instead of thinking, well, who else can I suck up to and then potentially get shit canned down the line? And I'm going to sit down and think, wait a minute, how can I generate income without these assholes that potentially will shit can me 16 months from now? And thank you. And it's nice, and it's nice that there's enough people to pull this off. It's nice that, you know, we don't have 10 million listeners. We have a couple 100,000 listeners, but they're focused enough and dedicated enough to make a difference to our sponsors, and there's a way to do this. So it's a pie that keeps getting whacked up in little thinner pieces, but that's okay. There's a way to keep the lights on and sell the pie.
Well, thanks for the inspiration. I mean it because, you know, you doubled down. You went for it, and I think it says something for us.
Oh, yeah, I got an iPad to give away. Yeah, Steve, come on out
there
here.
There you go.
tweet-house.com. And,
the Tweet House.
Yes, we're going to give away a brand. We left the cellophane on it, so you knew I didn't.
So you know it's new?
Well, you don't want to think you got a brand new iPad that Steve was using, beating off in his hotel room, and watching you porn with. You got to take.
That definitely will be the overheard of this keynote.
We're going to Twitter. We're going to do an actual live Twitter. And by the way, I'm going to be at the Tweet House at the Wynn, right, Steve?
There's a big party at the Wynn?
In about 10 minutes.
In about 10 minutes. So about 7 minutes, yes. Yes, South Show Terrace. Again, you can go to tweet-house.com. I'll be there until about 7:30.
If they go to tweet-house.com, they can also win this autographed iPad you are about to tweet from.
That's right. I just hit this one button here, and voila.
Your fingerprint is on it forever.
There it goes. And yes, I will sign this.
Can we get the Clash music back on or something?
I know, some sort of music.
And it will be given away. Thank you for your patronage. Yeah, I did want to say this sort of quickly before I hit the road. You bring up a really good point, which is a sort of a bottom line, because we're living in a society, and all of us who are here today realize that you can't hide behind false numbers and sort of bullshit, inflated. We worked in radio with something called Arbitron Diaries. You could say you were #1 for the last 10 years, and it was a guy who got $10 a month to fill out a diary with a golf pencil, and it was hardly scientific. And now we're living in a world where you have to produce. So whatever it is you do, whether you're selling or buying or advertising or spending your dollars for our station, our network, or our network, somebody's going to open up a page and have a bunch of numbers on it, and it ain't going to be rounded up or rounded down. It will be to the number. And it's a weird, scary, potentially interesting and exciting future we have to look forward to, which is we are doing advertising not based on scotch and handshakes and Mad Men and Arbitron Diaries anymore, but actual hard numbers. So, you know, the righteous have nothing to fear, but Penn, me, and you could be in trouble. Yeah.
Big trouble.
I want to thank you, by the way. I'm sorry I have to split and go to this other obligation, but I do appreciate you coming out.